Hello, this is Dr. Jimmy. I'm going to have to talk quickly because otherwise I won't be able to get everything on this video that I want on the video. I tried before and I was only done talking about one house and I was already past 13 minutes and that was silly. Alright, so this is going to be my impressions of the opening night of Halloween Horror Nights 23. What evil has taken root, which was last night. Oh, what fun. Pardon me. Now, I must say, first of all, that I liked the event quite a bit from what I've seen of it so far last night. A lot of the negative hype prior to the event, I think some people just like to attack things before they even know what it's about. On the other hand, there's some valid arguments and some things that I think everybody would have liked to have seen, which unfortunately weren't there. But that's alright. What is there is not bad. In fact, it's pretty good. I can't give a very accurate assessment yet of the street experiences featuring The Walking Dead because I walked quickly through a few of them. Clear, Fall of New York, Survivors Camp, Woodlands. Didn't really stop to see what was there very much. I didn't go into the barn at Herschel's farm at all, so I can't even speak to that. So it really isn't fair for me to give a good assessment of that yet. What I saw, however, as I walked quickly through, was entertained me very much. I am a fan of the series, by the way, and I want to make sure that's understood, and so I get the references, and I liked what I saw. It's good seeing survivors running from walkers in New York, Atlanta, whatever it's supposed to be, rather than just zombies. It's good to see, it was good to see the projections on the tent in the campgrounds. That was fun. I like that very much. And in Clear, I got a very good scare in Clear when I actually paused for a moment to look at some cute little bunnies in cages. As you know, Morgan, in the series, in the program, he would capture little critters like possums and rats and bunnies and pigeons and put them into little cages in his little zombie traps, so that sort of be walker bait, you know. And so when the walkers come in, they get impaled on those pointy things, and they're stuck there when they don't, and that's how you don't get eaten by the zombies yourself, and you can pick them off with your rifle from the rooftops or something. So that was the idea, and so I'm there walking through Hollywood Boulevard, trying to get from one place to another rather quickly because I want to get to Legendary Truth to get my card, right? So I'm on my way, going quickly through there, and I see that, oh, they do have the cages, and oh, look, there's little bunnies, and I go up to look at those little bunnies because I'm silly that way, and what I thought was a mannequin of a walker just hanging there, impaled on this big post, this pointy spike on that structure, and I just assumed, stupid Jimmy, assumed it was a mannequin. Suddenly, as I'm right next to it looking at the little bunnies, suddenly it does this. And I leap about 17 feet in the air and say something damn silly like, you see. So, yes, very good. A female walker impaled on the pointy stick in the middle of Clear last night with the little bunnies in the cage next to you. You got me. Very, very good job. I like that quite a bit. So, and I get the idea that the graffiti, I would have rather had spray painted actually Hollywood Boulevard with graffiti and you know, let the daytime guests say, well, what's all this? That looks kind of weird. And but I suppose it's easier to see the projections of the graffiti at night to read it if it's projected. I guess that, you know, I understand why they did that, but anyway, because it is a nighttime event after all. Most of it's in the dark, even though it's, you know, being tonight is the actual equinox. Yesterday was the first time ever there were more daytime hours than nighttime hours in the day that was a Halloween Horror Night, which is weird, yeah. But it was technically summer, yeah, and it's only fall today, and that's kind of Halloween Horror Nights in the summer. That just ain't right. Okay, so going back to that. So that was my assessment so far of the streets. I'll get more into it when I have an opportunity to go back and thoroughly enjoy the streets, as I haven't yet, so it's not fair. But houses now. Let me get to the houses. I'd say overall, my assessment of the houses in collectively, to use a LT phrase, collectively, the houses are much, much better than last year. Not quite as good as 2011, though. Well, I thought 2011 had a really good set of houses, you know, Winter's Night and Forsaken and Nightingales and Blood and Guards and In Between and Nevermore. I probably missed a couple, but there was a really good assortment of houses there. You know, Into the Machine. The Thing wasn't quite as good, but still, the others I liked a lot, except for The Thing. It wasn't bad, but it didn't excite me. The others were all really good, and so that was a damn good set of houses. So it's going to be hard to beat that one. But so it's not quite as good as that year, as far as houses are concerned, mind you, but much better than last year in houses. That being said, individually, there were some houses that were strikingly one house in particular that I would go so far at this point, based only on first impressions, mind you. I'm going to rank the houses, and that ranking may change over the course of the event, depending on, you know, how things turn along. But this is just based on, I went through every house once, and I went through one house twice, okay? And based on that, there's one house I went through last night that I am right now prepared to say is maybe the very best house I've ever been in. I'm talking about Merkin Werewolf in London. Clearly the best house of the event this year. Awesome house. Bloody brilliant. And I didn't even... I mean, I know intellectually what I'm looking at are puppets, basically. But emotionally, on some, you know, the gut level, that's a fucking animal. It's a very vicious, snarling growl. It's alive, and it wants to eat me. That's how I felt. And the setup, it's just the movie's a classic, and I love the movie and very much, and it really captures the spirit of the movie all the way through. And there's one in particular at the very end, the last, I'm not going to give away too much because I don't want to spoil too much, but the last werewolf that you encounter at the end of near the end of the house, there was a moment while I was staring into that beast's face, I almost felt like the expression on the face of the eyes of the wolf changed a little bit before it comes toward me, and I don't know if that was an illusion, imagination, just the skill when they painted it to capture some sort of expression or emotion on that, or what. But it reminded me of all the world at that last scene in the film where the nurse Jenny Agutter sees a little bit of David in the wolf's eyes before it goes for her throat, and I can't help but it was just such an emotional thing to capture somehow, and they did it. And the whole house is brilliant, and of course the cute references, pop culture references, one that's actually from the movie, you know, that I can't believe they did, considering, you know, who's down I-4, you know, neighbor, hello, down I-4 from Universal, a couple of miles, that they would get away with that. And of course, but then you have to see Bill and Ted. and then there's the other pop culture reference in the house, which, as you know, Aiello is a fan of a certain very long-running British television program, and let's just say he's a madman with a box sometimes, and that's all I'm going to say. That made me laugh so hard. I know that Mike probably was highly tempted to take a can of spray paint and sort of write something on that box, you know, a sort of catchphrase about something bad, but probably thought that would be giving it away. All right. Now, the brilliant house. Second house for me, second best house. It's a surprise some of you, I'm sure, because I've seen what other people, how they've ranked them. My second favorite house this year is La Girona, and I pronounce it that way because that's the way the house pronounces it. The word can be pronounced, I think, from different ways of speaking Spanish. You can say Llorona, 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 and Llorona, all of which are Rona. Those are all different dialects or different ways of pronouncing the LL, because one is almost a LY, one is more of a Y, one is a J, one is sort of a ZH, whatever it is. But the house itself, there's a woman speaking as you enter, and she says Girona. So it's more of a J in this case than a J or a Y or a Y. So, La Girona, which is okay because that's another way of pronouncing it. But anyway, going into the house, it really, some of the houses this year I got a feeling of, ended abruptly, and it felt like there should have been more there. You expected it to be more, and you're surprised when it ended. It's like, wait a minute, there's something missing here. A couple houses felt that way to me. This one was the opposite. I thought, okay, this is the last room. Oh wait, there's 3 more rooms. Or it's like not that it should have ended, but it was like it surprised me. Went against my expectations. I thought, because it seemed to go longer than I thought it would be, and then there were more scares that were more intense. I thought, holy crap! And it got me well scared. Not just once, but about 2 or 3 times I got it in this house, and a better scare of the evening in this house than in Werewolf. So I thought, damn, that was good. Maybe I wasn't expecting it or whatever, but it was. And more than any other house this year, and more than many houses for many years, this one really gives a feeling of not being at Universal Studios, not being in a haunted house. I sort of really felt like I was some other place, other time, into the story. And it was really evocative and picturesque and the atmospheric and sad. The overwhelming sense of tragedy that pervades that house, and more than any sense Catacombs. I really, really like this house. It was brilliant, I thought. Or maybe I'm just romantic that way, I don't know. But I enjoyed it terrifically. So that's my number 2 house. Number 3 house for me, Cabin in the Woods. Now I'm ordering these how I like them. Doesn't mean I disliked any of them. I didn't. I liked all the houses, but some obviously I liked less than others. Cabin in the Woods did a good job. And if you've seen the movie, you'll really like the house. If you haven't seen the movie, you might be a bit confused at times. This is one of the houses that I felt ended suddenly, and I didn't feel it completed the story. Something was supposed to be there I didn't see, or something. That's the way I felt. There should have been more characters or something. I couldn't quite get a handle on it. A lot of houses seem to have big spaces in them, and maybe it's so you can get a wheelchair through easier, or if there's a problem, wider, maybe because they want costumes to fit out easier. I don't know. Or maybe it's because we're getting fatter in America and we need more room to walk through. I don't know if that's it either, but it seems to me some of the rooms are bigger and wider enough that only 1 or 2 characters, it seems obvious, Damn, you'd think there'd be about a bunch more people in a room that size. Is what you expect to be more characters in some of these places. Is what I'm trying to say. Cabin was like that in some places. Liked it. I like all the references to the movie and stuff. It's cool, but especially in some ways I kind of like the cabin scenes almost better than the facility scenes. I know that's weird. It was not what I expected, but the Bruckners had more energy and more excitement to me than what afterwards. Although I really, really, really liked the one Pinhead rip-off demon, whatever they called him. I forget what they call it, Fornicatus, Lord of Pain, or something like that. He does a good job, and so does the little sugar plum fairy. But I wonder why they needed to have a zombie in that house when there's so damn many zombies everywhere else this year. I also felt, not that I was lied to or anything, but I sort of felt like I was promised a unicorn, actually in the house, mind you, not just on telly, you know, but actually there. You know, all those wonderful puppets of werewolves. I know they could have had a unicorn, you know, impaling somebody or coming out of the or something that would have been some kind of reference that would have been more satisfactory. Merman was cool though. Although, so there was that cabin in the woods. Now, number 3, number 4, Havoc derailed. Some people did not like this house at all. Others really liked it. The intense energy level not as high as the original Havoc in 2010, and they need to work on that. But they are intent though, especially, well, you know, part of it is the first, again, not to spoil, but the first part of the first sequence of the storyline. Obviously, they can't have the same energy level as they do in the second part, and I understand that. So that's part of it, because it doesn't really get going like the first one did until you get to the second part, the second half of the house. Then it really pounds, so that's good, and that might be part of the problem of the concept of the house. That being said, some people, I have a friend who said it was more like a spaceship than a train. I actually felt like I was on a train. Of course, I ride trains a lot. I don't normally go on to prison containments for super soldier trains, because, you know, why would I need to be contained in some sort of government, you know, because I'm not a super-powered mutant, fiendish hero living weapon, am I? No, that's Bob. Anyway, but I did a couple of times going through the train compartment, so, you know, and going through the different cars, and it's just like when you go through 2 cars of a train. There was that feeling, and a couple of times I almost, maybe it's again imagination, I don't know, but the illusion got me. I almost felt a little bit like there was some motion there, and I felt like I was on a moving train a couple of times. Then the train derails, which is fun, and I love the that was amazing. I liked that. It was fun to see the derailed part. You don't really feel like you've been falled over. Of course, they can't really do that. But and then everything goes ballistic after that, which is fun. So it's a fun, good house, and I think it's going to get better, because I know these guys are going to be fired up, agile, mobile, hostile, because that's what, you know, it is to be a dog of war. And because of that, I expect good things later on. I mean, the original Dogs of War picked up steam as well as time went on in 2010, and I hope the same thing happens here. And I know the characters look, they look good. They look like they're ready to go and ready to fight, you know? So that's good. That's a good sign for me. Okay, those are my top 4 houses. Now the bottom 4 houses. I think I'm allowed to go past 20 minutes, so I'll try to get this quickly. The bottom 4 houses, still good houses. Next one, this will surprise a hell of a lot of you. Resident Evil is my house number 5. Why Resident Evil? Because a lot of people thought it sucked. And I was hearing so much negativity about the house before I went in that I almost went the other way just out of spite. But no, that's not why. I went in and I wasn't quite sure what to expect, and I saw the opening scene. I see Leon on, you know, and he looks like cosplayed, and his hair, it's like the whole, and I realized they really want to make them look like the animated sprites. They really want to make them look like well, how they appear in the video game, which isn't how a real person looks. And I'm looking at that, and then I go into the first little scene, which is an Italian restaurant. And again, not to give too much away, but on the wall of the restaurant, there's a picture of Sam Meats. from Leave It to Cleaver. And as soon as I saw that, I said, "Oh!" And I realized this is our light-hearted house this year. There's no comedy house, but this is a more tongue-in-cheek, light-hearted house. And if you take it that way, then suddenly don't take it seriously. This isn't meant to be serious. And I mean, there's a pause in the middle of a game, for example. You go past a saving point, and then the game over at the end is just out of the game. I mean, it is a video game, and they tried as hard as they could to make it look like an animated video game. One that's not even current technology, but maybe only 64 bits or less. So it's like, oh my God, once you realize that, you don't mind the dog on a stick as much. And that's the feeling I got. And I like seeing, you know, the different colored herbs in different rooms and things. It's like, it just made me laugh, and I realized this is not meant to be the serious Resident Evil horror house as much as it is more of a, you know, a recreation of a game, a little bit too faithful to the game, to the point of being a bit silly. And to me, it was just a hell of a lot of fun. That's what, you know, and then there's a couple of costumes that you can't take seriously. There's one big thing. I'm sorry. Liquor needs to have a tongue. You need a tongue out there. No tongue, no liquor. Which is what? No. I won't go there, but that's a setup for a very naughty joke. No tongue, no liquor. No. No. Oh dear. Alright. Now I'm past 20 minutes, so I'll have to do a part 2.